On such occasions, I really feel sorry that I cannot speak in the language of your heart, nor can I speak Marathi, language of my heart. Because we all on the dais, the eminent persons, I'm sure, are so full of feelings with support and solidarity to Anweshi at this particular moment in Anweshi's life, that we would all would like to express it in our own language, and yet this foreign language. I'm sorry for that, Ajita and colleagues. The respected Sri Vasudevan Nayarji and all other respected eminent academicians and literary persons whom I need not even name them, know them from closer distance than I do. C.K. Janu, who symbolize not just feminist activism but also the Adivasi power that is merged with women's power. And Ajita and her colleagues, the women who are here as a part of Anweshi, and I see a large number of supporting men here, which is very creditable, no doubt. Khadija Mumtaj, Meera Didi, Sister Neeta, and everyone who is here, along with the principal, Professor Karaseri, and my colleagues, C.R. Hussain Master and others. I'm really feeling so privileged to be here, because it's not so simple, it's not a joke to carry on in the present situation and the environs around us, to carry on the work with, by and related to women. Certainly Ajita ji and her colleagues, who have always been a part of our movements and the National Alliance of Movements, may it be the Narmada Valley movement, may it be the movement of the urban poor, or those who are trying to save the paddy fields to Western Ghats. They have always been there, and hence not me as a person, but we as people's movements are proud of you, Ajita, and that's why we are here. We also know that, as she just said it, their participation and their activities, including the song that they began with, the song which we just sang in the morning meeting in another part of Calicut. And Rama Didi is here. We went to meet her, the tears in the eyes of mother of T.P. Chandrasekharan, and yet the woman's power. The women came in large number to even the meeting on the issue of the high-speed rail corridor. But it was not just the issue or the issues, the struggle and the battle of women for women with women. Rather, every human right is woman's right, and every woman's right is human right, is a political statement. And hence, when we sang song there, and the same song was repeated here by the Anweshi team, we realized how close we are, and what is this maximum common denominator in our thinking, our ideologies, our strategies, that we must draw upon in the present circumstances. Whether it is a struggle against displacement, or whether it is a struggle against atrocities against women. These are the struggles that take place in the framework of certain values And those are the values of equity and justice. Those are the values of simple living and self-reliance. And who else but women, with the maximum of giving, 2/3 of the world's labor that they give, and of course with love and passion, with persistence and creativity, and nothing less than that. So who else but women could show us a way out? It's because they are and we are the ones who are always the worst affected. Why may I say worst targeted? And it's obvious that this would happen in any iniquitous society. May it be between the majority and minority on the religious ground of the caste and casteism. May it be the gender basis. And yet when we are almost 50% in the society, with the infanticide, the female infanticide growing and killing us, we still are somewhere near 50%. And yet wherever we are, we face the iniquities. And hence wherever there is iniquity, there is going to be a targeted attack. And this is what the women in this country experience and feel, not just beginning with the last year 16 December event, which took place in the capital of India, and hence so much of publicity and so much of reaction, appropriately so. But in the nook and corner of the country, even here in Calicut, where the Anweshi is reaching out, the reaching and searching that has come together in their activities, tell us that these are not the rare and exceptional events. These are not the attacks of one time or other. This kind of iniquity leading to everything that goes against women socially, economically and politically, that needs to be looked into, not just investigated but acted upon. And that's what is told to us is being done by Anweshi through its wide range of activities. I was so pleased to come to know about the activities which Anweshi is dealing through with individual women, but we also know that they are the ones who took up the sex scandal. They are the ones who take up the issues of education and women's role in education. And it includes legal education, the legal awareness building. Women need to be empowered and need to have not weapons but astra, the tools in her hands. And when it is based on karuna, it is based on human life, not just right to life but dignity of life, that every single woman in the world lives with, it is obvious that they can never tolerate such iniquities. And hence comes the concept of justice. Justice that cannot come through without equity. And so all talks and discussions and debates of gender justice can only be operationalized and can be realized if there is gender equity. And this is what is missing, unfortunately, even 60 years and later. No doubt the women from Kerala who are in large number in nursing to teaching to fisheries, all those occupations which the women belong to and those belong to women, it is said. They are no doubt again as an indicator of progress. Now also in ITs and engineering and manufacturing and even in teaching have climbed up to the professorships and principalships. And yet, we are women, wherever we may be, before an editor of a magazine or a judge of the Supreme Court. We are looked at as women, not as human beings with so much of skill, so much of passion, so much of creativity, as I said, and the strength with perseverance that takes us to our manzils. And this is what we are fighting against. This is what Anweshi has been fighting against. As Ajita ji rightly said, fight is not only on the streets, it is there in their counseling center. I know with my mother of 84 years old, still working with the counseling and taking up the cases of atrocities against women. What she says is, that requires more skill and more struggle, starting from the individual and ending at the society, than you people are in. And rightly so. It doesn't require mere skill to counsel, but it requires a skill to educate the society that struggling woman begins to face with her immediate family, and then goes on and on and on. So I can very well understand, Ajita, what you must be feeling when you have achieved 20 full years of completion with all these activities which have empowered thousands and thousands of women who might not have reached here today, but must be experiencing the same sense of fulfillment and achievement as you and me do. So I salute Anweshi for these 20 full years of work which have gone a long way. Friends, it's very clear that when there is so much of communication around, when there is a media inflation around, still that dialogue amongst human beings is missing. When everything that is faceless is called Facebook, when everything that is social networking is turning out and knowing to be asocial in many situations, we still feel deprived of the real dialogue and discourse between one human being and another human being. May it be a Dalit woman, may it be a Dalit landless woman, may it be a Dalit landless slum dweller woman, may it be an Adivasi woman with lots of resources, rivers flowing in the doorstep, and yet no water to satiate thirst. We know that these are the women, therefore, coming from the downtrodden, the so-called downtrodden sections, which are not poor, although I have to categorize them as that for your understanding. But our understanding, when we see the women in the slums, those of our organization, the Ghar Bachao, Ghar Banao Andolan in Mumbai and in cities across the country, who at this point of time are fighting the battle against the brutal and most brutal demolitions, and that is demolition of shelter, yes, but it is also demolition of their dignity. It is molestation against not just the human body of the urban poor women in the slums. May it be Aisha, may it be Pushpa, may it be Meena, may it be Chinta Devi, may it be Anwari, whose fighting figures are at this particular moment, since I received the message this afternoon, are in front of my eyes. They are the ones who are stronger than me. They should have been on this dais. They are the ones who are saluting, respecting, protecting the state. And they are the ones who are upholding the constitutional values and principles. without getting into the casteist and communal attitudes. Think of these women who do everything possible, coming out with a few days old children in our rallies, walking thousands, 8,000 to 10,000 they walked on the last January 1st, saying 2014 may be an election of years, but 2013 is the election of struggles, and that's what we are in. And one full year after that, they live with promises from the state of Maharashtra, not a communally ruled state, but there is discrimination against the poor, the called poor, in the slums who are rich, and the women especially, because the men can live without shelter, the men can live with displacement. They can walk around markets and chew the gutkhas and then come home at night. And the woman, the mother, the sister, the daughter-in-law, the chachi and nani, the grandma, everyone has to feed the family, including the men and children as well as aged. So it is for them that anything that happens in the environment which takes away the resources which would fulfill their basic needs and impinge upon their basic fundamental rights, they are the ones who face it the most. And it's not only displacement. The agricultural lands and forests and rivers where they feel secure to work with the livelihoods which come from the immediate environments, when those very livelihoods are taken away, their security also is snatched away. And I don't mean to say that they should be therefore restricted to their immediate environments. But this is what is the scenario. In the society such as ours, which is on the continuum from tradition to modernity, the women face both the respect of a Devi and the ditching of a Dasi, the exploitation and expropriation of her labor. But rarely is she considered as a human being, and that is what the struggle is for. And when it is said every time that in this country we really look at women with dignity, what is happening in the recent times is known to you all. We were traveling on the streets of Calicut, and every single advertisement and poster has woman's face or a body on it. Whether it is an advertisement of a car, a motor car, or an irrigation pump set, they need woman's face and body there. That is commodification. Something that is affecting water, something that is affecting land, something that is affecting every natural resource. But it is also now taking over through the various market mechanisms, the woman and the womanhood. And hence, that is what is leading to the passion which is attacking and which is molesting and insulting. Think of the saints who talked about the equity on the basis of the relationship between the genders. Vasana, which is at the roots of all the present time troubles. And then the bazaar, the market, which is furthering and facilitating that. That is something we must get rid of. And that is the task, the wide-ranging vision that Anweshi takes forward. We know that the media on one hand is presenting this kind of commodification as indicators of development and progress. But mind you, like Anweshi's Sangathita, there are alternative media. Maybe our movements of India, our Andolan in Marathi, and the movements and actions themselves becoming the medium to convey and communicate, as is this program aiming at. These are the alternative media and alternative communications that are still striving to build in that force on the basis of equity and justice. These are not just the legal rights and the constitutional rights. Human rights are much above legal and constitutional rights. The laws are changing and the constitutions also keep changing. But the human rights are born human beings' rights. And so these communications, and I must salute Anweshi for this too. The way they are communicating with the outer world. I have seen Ajita and her colleagues participating in our national conventions and putting forth what may be called a feminist viewpoint, but I would not call it so. ये केवल स्त्रीवादी नजरिया नहीं है, ये स्त्री का नजरिया है. Once you enter it into isms, dogmatism is likely to come up. But अगर आप माँ की नजर से देखोगे, if you look at everything, development to destruction, from the mother's point of view, your own mother's point of view, what ism? It is nothing less than humanism that you experience and you feel the strength of. And that is what Anweshi's team has been putting forth. And all of us, the people's movements, require that this comes to not only to us, the women activists, but also our men activists, the youngsters who join our movements, maybe to save their own land or save their own rights of the students. They need to have that nazariya, that viewpoint towards not just development, but life and lifestyle. And there is the contribution of the women's movement, and Anweshi forms a part and a pillar of that same strength. I salute them for this. I know that the women in the movements and movements which are in the constructive work, not just in struggles, have yet lots to achieve. Our alliance between the struggles and the constructive work is to be complementary, and hence, just as they are reaching out to the various sections of population to tell them what the women in their own families feel like, they also have to fight for the appropriate policies and laws. The domestic violence and the law that has come up around that, the sexual harassment and the law that has come around it, the domestic workers policy, so on and so forth. These are specifically focusing upon and fulfilling partly or fully the demands that have come from the women's movement. So mind you, although there is always a talk about the political parties' positions on the laws and legislations, think about the pro-people legislations. May it be the women's laws, may it be labor laws, may those be the laws such as Right to Information, Forest Rights Act, now the new Land Acquisition Act, not full and perfect, but getting rid of the British legacy of land acquisition, or even the latest Lokpal. These come out of the women's movements, the people's movements, and so that also is a role that Anweshi and such organizations have been playing. So think of the wide range of activities and achievements, and that includes not just counseling to individual women folk and getting the men along as they are seen to be here. I'm so proud of you, my brothers, that you have made it to Anweshi's program, and you have not just sent your sisters or mothers home. It's a program of women, by women, for women. No, we want a true democracy, we want a true humane democracy, and there we also want 50% of people's representation coming from the women. Why 33%? Where does this figure come from? I never know. We want 50% representation because that is still more or less our strength in the population. Tomorrow, if we come down to 33 through infanticide, then the matter would be different, and then we will not leave those who symbolize the patriarchalism. But certainly today we want that. We want one woman and one man as the representative and two representatives from each electoral constituency. Why can't that come true? So there are a number of other manzils which are yet to be achieved, and when we are not in electoral politics, we are Aam Aurat movement. We have the strong women's force in every movement, may it be Narmada, may it be Adivasi struggles, may it be the struggles of the slum dwellers. And that would, we hope, would bring full-fledged vision that is of Anweshi's and that is of Narmada Bachao and National Alliance of People's Movements come true. That's not just an utopian dream. It is a reality in many parts of the country today. I know the Gulabi gang and different kinds of, extemporaneous kind of responses and reactions that are coming from the movement. And those are not limited to the, the Bachat Gat, the World Bank sponsored micro budgeting schemes. But even then, even those kinds of activities give the women an opportunity and a forum to come together and share with each other. So what to talk about Anweshi and such fora? These are the real women's humane fora, and that I am a part of it today on this occasion of great achievement and a long way that is being chalked out. I am feeling so proud and privileged, thankful to you all, thankful to Ajita and the whole team of Anweshi, and thanks to all those who support Anweshi. I would just give 2-3 slogans which are women slogans in our movement. मैं हिंदी में ही slogans दे सकती हूँ, slogans तो अंग्रेजी में देने के लिए नहीं कहना मुझे. तो slogans are, translation will come from CR, sorry, I was so full of feelings that I thought I should better stick to the whole speech. Slogans are, जब जब महिला लड़ती है, अन्याय की नींव धंसती है. Whenever the women fight, the base of injustice sinks down. That's not a very good English translation maybe, but this is one slogan. So please say, अन्याय की नींव धंसती है. अन्याय की नींव is the base. The basis injustice crumbles down. धंसती है, जैसे घर की नींव धंसती है जब earthquake आता है, उस प्रकार से. So can I say it? At least women should raise the hands and give that slogan. जब जब महिला लड़ती है, अन्याय की नींव धंसती है. जब जब महिला लड़ती है, अन्याय की नींव धंसती है. That's one. दूसरा नारा है, बहनों की इज्जत है किसमें. बहनों की इज्जत है किसमें, because it is name of izzat. I remember when there was communal riot in Malegaon, the Nasik district of Maharashtra. I must tell you that story in very, very short. We went to meet the people who were ousted from their houses and their communities. And first, from all men on both sides, what we heard was the same story. हमारी महिला पर आक्रमण हुआ, हम क्या षंड हैं? Are we impotent? Our women are being targeted, our women are attacked. We felt so sad that both the communities, men attacking only women. That is not even communalism. That is anti-womanism. So we said that we must look into it. Then we reached out to the camps. This is a true story, sir. Then we reached out to the camps where the ousted population was staying. Because these men were moving around, meeting the politicians, giving press interviews and whatnot, and taking up the challenge and giving the challenges. And the women were busy in feeding their children with no shelter and no food left with them. We met them because being a woman, we can reach out to the chulhas. And hence we found them inside. And what they told us was exactly the opposite. You won't believe exactly the opposite. The women in Bhavsar colony, take by name and go and visit Malega, were told us that those in the Nizam Nagar saved us. And those in the Nizam Nagar told us that the Bhavsar colony women saved us. That was the true alliance that gave us a hope that sometime all the discriminations based on caste, creed, gender, now the regionalism of Raj Thackeray and of course Chin would come to an end. And that can happen only if women with her izzat doesn't become an unjustifiable factor for the patriarchal society to divide and discriminate in their favor and against the women. So this slogan, महिलाओं की इज्जत है किसमें? It's not in burqa when the Khaf Panchayat is already on the scenario of the country, insulting the women and challenging all of us not belonging to particular communities. महिलाओं की इज्जत है किसमें? गांव देश बचाने में. In urban areas we say बस्ती देश बचाने में. So we are not fighting only to save ourselves. We are fighting to save this country and the world, the humanity and the values too. So that is what we like to convey through this kind of slogan. So please me if you can. महिलाओं की इज्जत है किसमें? गांव देश बचाने में. महिलाओं की इज्जत है किसमें? गांव देश बचाने में. महिलाओं की इज्जत है किसमें? गांव देश बचाने में. Please my friends, do join us. Join with your voice that needs to be raised, if not weapons. And join us with your commitment to equity and justice, which Anweshi and all of us, their supporters, friends and allies, appeal to you all. Thankful to you for giving me this opportunity to express my feelings.